Hello and welcome to the third of our Movie the Needle date night episodes, where two amateurs haphazardly dissect a movie that we have been to see at the cinema together. I'm Simon, and I'm in our shed with my part-time boyfriend, full-time pedant Carl, as we talk through our reflections on our recent trip to a local movie theatre. This week, we watched and talk about the science fiction black comedy directed by Bong Joon Ho, following the story of Mickey Barnes, an expendable worker on a space colony who is cloned every time he dies. Hair sniffing and macarons ensue. It's Mickey 17.
Have you used pedant before?
Yeah, I don't know. You didn't know where I was going when I said pe, and then we could have gone over. But have I used pedant? I've only done this.
You weren't going to go there, surely.
No, seems unlikely. I don't know. Let me see. You just filled dead air for a little bit.
Well, the other thing is he cloned every time? I'm not sure that's right. He's cloned every time he dies. I don't think that's right.
What do you mean? Why is he not?
So you're saying he dies and then he's cloned?
Is that not right?
No, that's definitely not what happens.
Why?
He dies, then they reprint him,
Which is
then
cloning.
they recreate him. I think they've already cloned him. Is the point, isn't there?
Well, they've got his material, and then they create him from that material.
Yeah, really tapping into the
him.
pedantry here.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to use the term printed because people might go, printed? What do they mean?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It turns out we do mean printed, yeah.
But anyway, Carl, you've already fallen foul. No chit-chat. Streamlined, efficient, breezy format. For
fair enough.
Episodes, remember?
But listen, I do have a beer.
Ooh, well, yeah, I'll get there. Just hold your horses.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, sorry.
All right.
Sorry.
So this is another relatively recent title, probably the most recent one we've done. It's very, very current. Another strange experience on our local Odeon, which showed there being about 3 times as many tickets sold as people who actually attended. What is up with that, Odeon?
Yeah, strange.
It's happened a few times now. But we are still going to cover the same sections. So cast, production, plot, any changes, plus a little mini data section, including a hybrid I think we're both pretty happy with. And most importantly, there will be beer. So, without further ado, Carl, unveil the Mickey 17 Ale.
Yeah.
Is it 17 beers on a little tasting tray? That'd be good.
No.
18.
No.
Is it Korean?
Is it what?
Korean.
No.
Yeah.
I have gone with a beer that matches your sort of idiom, your cinema-going persona, which I would describe as cheap. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, don't want to pay full price for a ticket.
No, never.
I mean, the everyman's a non-starter.
Oh, I mean, rarely I would go. I will go occasionally.
Yeah, but don't want to pay full price for a ticket. Won't buy anything
No,
when you're there.
No drink, no food, nothing.
Yeah. So today, I've got us a Morrison's Premium Export Lager.
Excellent. Exporting as well, like people are exporting from the planet Earth to thing. I mean, I don't think it's called exporting, but there we go.
No, it's just because you're cheap.
Okay, fine. Okay, let's get our initial impressions with a snappy little headline from each of us. Carl, have you got the snappy headline memo?
Yep.
Have you?
2 sentences.
Mm-hmm. How many commas in one of those sentences?
1, 2, 3.
In it. Right. Okay, I'll start. So, my little impression of this can be summarised as muddled. It had an unexpected tone that was part wacky, part sort of hard sci-fi, which I eventually did settle into. It had decent levels of fun, but I was expecting more. Carl?
I think mine is just a little bit longer than yours.
In it.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, okay. Had no idea what this was about. It has a weird tone, which I didn't mind for the first half of the movie, which I think puts us slightly at odds. But for me, the tone approach it's adopted does sort of ruin or get in the way of its own storytelling. So fun, yeah, somewhat good-ish.
Okay, let's move on to the cast then. Led out by Robert Pattinson, playing multiple versions of Mickey Barnes. What do you think of old R-Pats? Is he still called R-Pats? Has he moved past R-Pats? I think he's moved past R-Pats, hasn't he?
Yeah, whatever. He's good. He's good. He's having some fun with it. He's asked to do a few different things few different personas as different copies start to appear. So he gets, a somewhat varied role to go at. And he's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought he was excellent, actually. I thought he threw himself into this. He was accurately able to portray multiple versions of the same character with differing levels of subtlety. I liked the sort of default voice he does for default Mickey. It's a bit pathetic, an even more pathetic version of the Kick-Ass voice, of that sort of nasally voice. So yeah, enjoyed him.
It reminded me a bit of what McAvoy's doing in Split.
Yes, a bit more subtle.
Yeah, but probably also not quite as good as what McAvoy's doing in Split. Which is, fair enough. But yeah, it was good.
What about Naomi Aki playing Nasha? Not the Beano dog.
No. She's decent enough as the headstrong bit.
Yeah.
But I'm not convinced that her character makes sense.
Well, that is two different things.
Right, but I'm then not sure how to appraise... because I don't know what she's supposed to have been doing. I'm not sure how to appraise her performance in it. Because the headstrong stuff comes across, but then we've got some, her character goes on a bit of a journey, and then the rest of it's like, are you still supposed to be a bit of an arsehole? Are you not? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I thought she was pretty strong in this. I thought she was equally convincing as both the sort of love interest angle and the sort of badass angle side of it. She also seemed incredibly familiar, and I think I was saying as we were coming out of the cinema, I was like, she can't place what I've seen her in. And I had a look after you had a quick look, but I had a longer look at what she's been in and what I've actually seen.
You sound like my wife.
All I've seen her in was Star Wars Episode 9, which just thinking about makes me angry, and the weird arty series of Master of None. You ever seen Master of None series?
No.
Oh crap! And Aziz Ansari, his series.
Do you know where that phrase comes from?
Master of None. Oh no! Good call. That's a callback to. Oh my god! What, episode 4 or something?
I don't know.
Jesus. Yeah. But yeah, there we go. That's one for the hardcore.
Yeah. Oh, he's talking about TikTok again. Fucking hell. Yeah, she was all right. I mean, the love interest is a weird one because I found that on reflection all a bit weird, and because she never really fleshes out why she goes after him, and it's like instant as well, isn't it?
Why not? Attractive little guy.
Yeah, sure. So I was like, is that just because she's bored? Or does she genuinely like him?
Well, basically, it's all set up that the ship is full of assholes, right?
Yeah, so has she just gone, you're not an arsehole, you'll do? I don't...
Well, maybe not you'll do, but you're not an arsehole first. That's the initial traction, and then build from there.
Not sure. She's all right.
Yeah, maybe Mickey 17 is named after the length of his... So
you're slightly above average, right?
Yeah.
All right, Simon 12.
12.
It's all right. You happy with that?
Not well happy.
Yeah.
Stephen Yun as Timo.
Oh, I didn't write him down.
What? Who did you write? He's literally a third character.
I know he's the third build, but he doesn't have loads and loads to do, does he?
No. What have you seen him in before?
Nothing. I don't think. Have I?
Yeah. He was in Minari.
Oh yeah, I've seen him in that.
So you've definitely seen him in that recently. I knew him most from the Walking Dead TV series. He had a regular part in that. He's very good in that. But yeah, I like him. I thought his character was pretty much a two-dimensional user/loser. But he was effective enough to sort of come across as a little hateful fella. And
yeah,
you're seeing what else you've seen him in.
Yeah. I'm just.
I'll just fill the gap.
I think that might be it. To be fair, Minari. Yeah. Okay.
But okay,
he's in Stranger Things. As dead security guard for one episode.
I don't think he's in it. Who have you got next?
So next I've got Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo playing Kenneth Marshall. Yeah. What do you think of the Ruffalo?
Well, I think Mark Ruffalo's doing a bit at this point. He's shown that he's got this sort of overblown sort of caricature quality about him. He's shown he can be fun.
What have you seen him in with the overblown?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily his films, as in just how he always is in interviews and stuff. Like he's always like overblown. And then if you watch Poor Things, it's very, very similar to this.
Okay. So I've always seen him. He's fairly understated in everything that I've seen. He's sort of quite.
It does depend on the film.
And,
it does depend on the film.
So this was a bit of a shock to me because he was very, very over the top.
Right.
In this, kind of outrageously over the top in this as a kind of fascist dictator. Role.
And I think it's fine. By the way, I think that the approach he's gone for is in keeping with the rest of the tone of the films.
I think it was the part I struggled with most at the start of settling into him in particular, because I think he's the biggest, the most outrageous of the characters. I mean, horrifyingly recognisable in today's politicians.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I wouldn't. This is why I wouldn't. I think he's doing a bit of a bit. I think this is someone's gone. Oh, Mark Ruffalo. Yeah, let's get him in to do his silly thing. And I think that's fine. And I mean, we've elected Boris Johnson and the Americans have elected Donald Trump twice. So, is he that overblown? Ooh, maybe not.
I think Bong Joon Ho had said in a couple of interviews that he's finding interesting. All around the world, people are finding politicians that the Mark Ruffalo character.
Oh, yeah. Like, what about that Argentinian, Javier Milei, or whatever his name is?
Yeah. So it's not just like everyone going, oh, that's Trump. It's everyone going like, oh, no, that's our politician in our country as well.
We've seemingly all got a version.
Which is worrying. Who have you got next?
Tony Collette.
Mm-hmm. All right. How the hell do you say her name? Because I couldn't remember from hearing it, and now I've looked at how it's spelled. It's Ylfa.
Ilfa, isn't it?
Is it Ilfa?
Yeah.
Okay, that's quite easy. I don't remember her being called Ilfa though, but never mind. What do you think of Tony Collette?
I mean, she's obviously overblown. She's a bit more down the manipulative, nasty side than Ruffalo is, because Ruffalo's still got a bit of the sort of simpering patheticness about his character as well. Like he's
a bit more bravado, whereas you feel like she's the real crazy that behind.
She's steering him.
Master.
Yeah.
Effectively, she's a very convincing maniac.
Yeah, I agree. I think it works pretty well again for what the film's gone for. I think she's good. I think she's quite good, Toni Collette. She does often play unlikable characters, I have to say, but I always find myself going, oh, you, which fair play to her, job done.
Yeah, for sure. You've got anyone else?
Tim Key.
Tim Key as Pigeon Man, officially down as, which is weird because he's referred to as a dove.
He's referred to as a dove. Yeah, I mean, I love Tim Key. But what's this about?
So why do you like Tim Key? What do you like him in? From?
Well, I first saw him in Taskmaster, series 1 of Taskmaster. Mm-hmm. It's very funny in that. I've seen some of his sort of, you wouldn't really call it stand-up work, and it's quite funny that he pops up in a lot of sort of panel shows and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then also the YouTube game No More Jockeys that he plays with Alex Horn and Mark Watson. And it has been said that a lot of people are like, this is a No More Jockeys inside joke. He's definitely gone and nodded towards the director. Yeah, do you mind if I do this? I was like, fine. But what's it all about?
Yeah, I mean, in any other film, it would be weird. In this, it's kind of just like, all right.
I don't know. I think it's...
It's maybe taking it a bit far.
Yeah. I
don't know. I wasn't really familiar with Tim Key, apart from as soon as he came on screen, I was like, I recognise him, and he seems to be playing the same.
Oh yeah,
as he's
playing Tim Key. Yeah, very much playing Tim Key.
The only other person I've got down is Anna Maria Bartolome, who plays Kai Katz.
Yeah,
who I felt she was a little bit abandoned in the latter stages. Seemed to be building up to quite a nice little character.
Yeah.
But yeah, just disappears. But
she's the one that they had identified as the
perfect
human, the good old eugenics kicking in there. Yeah, you're right.
I thought she was going quite interesting direction. I thought she was going to come into it, and
it picked her up for a section and then put her back down again, didn't it?
Yeah. Kind of tried to get her involved with the I'll take the 17, you take the 18 kind of thing, and the whole meal scene. She was very good in that, and then gone.
Yeah,
which is a shame. But there's a few things, as we'll get to, which were laid out there and then gone.
Yeah,
never to be seen again.
Yeah. Unless we're the idiots.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Quite
almost
probably,
definitely.
yeah.
Have you got any more actors you want to talk about?
Well, I've done a bit of recasting, mate. I've accidentally done
Despite
some
us saying
recasting.
we're not going to do recasting for these episodes, but go on then.
I forgot. I was drinking my notes. I forgot. Robert Pattinson, Mickey Barnes. I do think we're fortunate that Timothée wasn't in this. As
You're going to say that about every film.
It would have been much more pouty. Yeah, but it's exactly the sort of film you can see him getting cast for. I think Gyllenhaal could do it. Joseph Gordon-Levitt could do it. But I've gone with Gosling.
Gosling?
Yeah. Ryan Gosling's got a bit of Mickey 17 about him.
Yeah, he's a bit too... I don't know.
Good, yeah.
No.
Nice observation.
Yeah, he needs to be a bit more... I don't know how pathetic he could be. I think...
You've not watched The Nice Guys?
Well, yeah, I suppose that's a kind of pathetic. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, different kind of pathetic, though.
Okay. I mean, he's an actor. I think he can... Yeah. No, never mind. Naomi Aki, Nasha Marriage. I think we're fortunate that Zendaya wasn't in this. Because that would suggest that Timothée had got the gig.
Well, you've never seen Zendaya in a film, though, have you? So...
but anyway, Emily Blunt.
Sure. I mean, definitely. She would definitely be able to do this.
Yep.
Of course.
Mark Ruffalo, Kenneth Marshall. I've gone John C. Reilly.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Tony Collette, Ilfa, Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, for sure.
Bringing a Snowpiercer vibes to the party. And then Tim Key, Pigeon Man. If you're going like for like, it's Martin Freeman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you reckon he'd go for Pigeon Man?
Yeah, I could see him in Pigeon Man. Yeah. Probably not now. We'd probably see it as a backward step. Yeah, but he could pull it off.
Good stuff. Okay, let's move on to production then. And as we mentioned, written and directed by Bong Joon... Oh no, let's try that again. Written and directed by Bong Joon Ho. What have you seen of his previously?
I think it's just... Oh no, it's two. It's Parasite and Snowpiercer.
Yeah, I've only seen Parasite. I need to get watching Okja and Snowpiercer at least. Mother's meant to be good. The Host is meant to be decent. This is one director that Will has seen all of the filmography of, so he's very keen to see it. So I gave him a little heads up. We're doing it. Come on, get it watched.
Yeah, get your ass in gear.
Yeah. Love Parasite.
Yes,
it's very good.
Yeah.
Very good. You watched it quite recently.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, excellent. $120 million budget for this. So he's obviously been given the dollar after getting the Oscar.
Yep.
Weirdly, it's going on to video on demand at the end of March. And considering we saw it last week at, the 10th of March? When did we watch this?
Weird, all that shit, yeah.
Yeah, no, not even that later than that. It's only been out a week or two since, as we're recording this. It's not even like Disney where it's like going onto their streaming channel or anything like that. So, but apparently this is consistent with the approach that Warners are taking generally with it, regardless of how it's doing. It's a 3 week, 4 weeks, and then boom, home release.
Yeah, it's weird. Remember the massive lags he used to get? Of course, it was to serve the DVD market, wasn't it? That's right.
Yeah, but you even had the big lead up to a Christmas movie on terrestrial TV, or even
network premiere.
Yeah, or even later than that would be. It's at least released on Sky after a good old gap. They had you can pay for it, but then it goes on to Sky Movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, just don't get that. And if you look at Sky Movies now, it's atrocious. It's not at all worth getting. But anyway, separate story. I did read that this is forecast to lose Warner's $100 million after its original sort of release thing, which is a real shame. Despite these reservations that we'll probably outline, at least this is what we do keep banging on about here, which is at least something a little bit interesting. Not a franchise or a remake, adaptation, but that's allowed.
Strange, isn't it though? Because I feel like there's a bit of a thing where if something is new and not like a sequel or something like that, or a remake where there's already a captive audience, there's almost this expectation that it needs to be amazing, which is never what going to the cinema has been about.
Yeah,
you were always going to see a range of films in quality. I don't regret going to see this one at all. I'll go as far as to say it's probably the best one we've been to see, actually.
Of the
scant competition with 3 films or whatever. But
Yeah.
I
mean, I guess as well, the thing that something like this relies on is because it is not a ready-made property, it actually needs some word of mouth and people to go like, oh, have you seen that? Oh, yeah. And there's a lot to talk about with this as well. Like, you'll get people going like, oh, yeah, I loved it. Oh, yeah, no, I didn't get it at all as well. So it's one of those that could do with a bit of a longer release in the theatres to like get that, allow that to happen and not just be like, no, well, I haven't heard great thing. I'll just wait for it to come on to whatever.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's too easy to just go, oh, well, I won't go see this.
Yeah, if you have to wait 6 months to be able to see it, and you're just like, oh, fine, I'll go because everyone's talking about it.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot else out right now either.
No.
The choices are pretty limited in the cinema in terms of a similar big budget, similar size budget with actors you will recognise and know. An interesting story and a lot of people have seen Parasite because obviously it's built on the Oscar win and everything like that. So it just seems strange. It's crying out for a longer release. And this time of year as well, because it's post Oscars. It's generally like where in February they've started to dump all their crap movies that they want to hide, and in March you're starting to get things, but it's not quite in the summer release slots or anything like that. So I don't know, it's very odd. So it's a shame. I really want this to do well, even though it's not top notch, but it's decent. So,
yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah,
people should go see it.
Let's talk about the tone.
Oh, straight with tone, straight with the big issues.
Yeah. Well, I guess it can be seen as an issue or kind of one of its strengths as well in a little bit, because it's as I say, I've not seen his whole back catalogue, but it seems like it's maybe not an unusual. It's not like a departure for him. The kind of strange tone that's got here.
I don't know. I mean, Parasite. There was some, and maybe this is part of it being in a foreign language and you're not understanding all of the sort of inflections and things like that when people are speaking and delivering the lines. Parasite to me seemed to be a slight exaggeration of things rather than this, which is a much bigger exaggeration. Snowpiercer, I would say it was pretty dark in tone, really.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about his other stuff.
Yeah. This is so very only those 2 to go on. I didn't see much in the way of comparison. Obviously, the themes are all the same. The story points, the issues that he's talking about. I mean, I do think that the decision to go light-hearted and overblown on such serious subjects is quite difficult, because if you don't get it right, it's really easy to pick apart or go, well, that doesn't work, or what was all that about then? And we'll talk about this mostly in plot, I think. But like I said in the intro, like the decision for it to sort of not, I don't know whether it doesn't fully get us on side as to where we should have been, and then it's sort of asking us to flip, because he's not overtly a fascist at the start.
No, builds into it.
They build into it. And then you go, oh wow, this is really only ever going to end one way. And then it sort of asks us to go, right then, against these guys now. But it's kind of like, well, yeah, of course, because you've been slowly building us up to this. But like, there's no examination of, well, how did we get here? Like, why have the people facilitated this? Whereas I think something like Starship Troopers does this a lot better, because Starship Troopers commits to the bit wholeheartedly all the way throughout. And that's so ridiculous that a lot of people don't even necessarily realise
that it's being...
that it's, that it's
I don't think I did. The film I watched it as a kid. Like, I obviously didn't get that. Right. I just thought it was a big overblown...
And the other thing, the fascists win, right? So at no point does it ask us to sort of come on side and go, oh, by the way, we're against the bad guys, right? And then it's afterwards with Starship Troopers, you go, oh yeah, well, look at that. We've just all been cajoled along with fascism because it was wrapped up in a shiny package. So, oh yeah, that's how it works. Look, a lot of people don't like Starship Troopers and all the rest of it, and I get that. But this kind of doesn't seem to have the courage of its convictions, I don't think.
Would you say it's consistent in its tone?
No, not really.
Yeah. So I read a comment from Steve. I didn't read it. I listened to Stephen Yeun doing an interview, And he said that Bong doesn't enforce a certain type of tone. Which as a director seems odd.
Yeah.
Like surely you would be
That's
going,
your job.
Yeah, like this is the tone, guys. This is kind of what we want to go for. Don't just make it up. Like, come on. Which maybe would explain the slight inconsistencies.
Yeah, it's
throughout,
strange.
so,
Yeah.
potentially. What about the looks, Carl? What have you got to say about
Well,
how it all
there's loads of
looks?
good stuff on the production. And actually, I know we saw this like just over a week ago. I was actually struggling to call a lot of it specifically out. I don't want this to sound like Dan with faint praise again, but it does just have the look and feel of a very, very well-made movie.
Yeah,
right.
He knows what he's doing.
The set design all looks good.
Yep.
Like,
Creature design.
Yeah, the creature design is good. What do they call them? The creepers.
Creepers, yeah.
Um,
Or as I call them, the weird, hairy woodlice mammoths.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, yeah. I don't mind it. It's just all sort of all right. Yeah, fair enough. There's little touches like the almost swastika-like logos on their belts and stuff, which are like nice little hints to sort of what's to come.
Well, even he becomes more militarized, doesn't he, as well? The Ruffalo character, like he starts wearing uniforms increasingly as you go on. I quite enjoyed how the whole ship kind of almost feels like a prison, doesn't it, with the prison style meals and things like that all lined up with wearing the grey outfits, and it's all they're limiting everything that they're getting. Everything is very industrial's not the right word, but it's all very functional. There's not a lot of comfort built into anything apart from in the way you get that feeling of coldness, I guess, associated with the vast majority of the locations on the ship, for sure. On the planet that they go to, you don't get to see too much apart from it's icy and snowy and
icy wilderness.
There's not a lot to go at.
Good cave.
Good cave. But yeah, so there's not a lot to go at there. So it's largely based on a ship and just outside the ship and on a planet. There's not a great selection of locations there for sure. But yeah, I think it looks very convincing. I like the sci-fi sort of elements. I mean, this is set in like 2054 or something. It's not very far in the future, and it kind of gets that feeling a little bit. I think that nothing's too futuristic really.
Yeah,
there, which I quite liked. You got anything to call out on sound or anything around those? I didn't really pick up on anything apart from there's a narration / voiceover.
Yes.
Which is fine. I thought I had no problems with it.
Yeah, well,
I think it needed it as well.
Yeah, so I did think this because spoiler alert, we open up with essentially a spoiler scene at the start.
Yeah.
Which at the time I was like, I wonder if they should have left that. But the thing is, by bringing it forward, he basically gets to explain a lot of the things we need to know up front. And then you can kind of like dispense with that. And all right, I don't need to worry about dripping these in later and things like that. So I sort of get why it's there. It also does give you a steer on where this is heading, because I don't know about you, but when that one was introduced as Mickey 17, and obviously he gets injured, I was like, all right, well, he's going to cause some problems later.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't call the movie Mickey 17 if he was just going to have a slow death there, would you?
Yeah, he's not coming back. So, obviously gives you those steers on what's to come, and that's fine. I don't think I've got anything of note on sound either. Similar notes though to what I said before. I enjoyed it at the time.
Yeah,
I just remember thinking, oh yeah, this is all there. It's just nothing that's particularly stuck with me. I can't remember a particular soundtrack or anything like that.
No, not at all. No, nothing. I can't recall anything at all.
Yeah.
Which is probably just down to me not paying attention enough, but there you go. It's based on a book, Carl, called Mickey 7. So he added 10 more deaths just for giggles.
Fair enough.
Why not? The deaths are quite fun, to be fair.
Yeah. Yeah, good.
Why not have fun with it? You got anything more on production you want to call out?
No, not in production.
Alrighty. Okay, and we move swiftly on to the plot. And I think overall, it's got a very good premise. Very interesting. Would you say, Carl?
Yeah, solid plot.
Yeah. Makes good use early on of the expendable angle and the reprinting and the kind of explaining the whole thing of what's going on.
Should say solid plot. I am only talking about the overall plot, or the story, if you will.
Yes,
At the
yeah.
overarch, I think that's solid,
I like the premise and direction that it goes generally. Yes,
Yeah.
I quite settled. I quite like the sort of love story angle bit. Added a little bit to it. There's not a lot to it.
Not sure about that.
No. Okay. Well, we can come back to that. What's your thoughts?
Well, so like you said, it's solid overall. Earth is fucked.
Yep.
So we got to get away. Questionable / unethical use of technology. A barbaric class system takes hold in the new settlement. That's all fine. That's all good stuff. Problems all in the subplots. That's one of them for me, is the romance. Not necessarily because anything was massively wrong with that.
You couldn't lose it, though, I don't think, could you?
Yeah, I mean, you didn't need to be full on romance. I don't know. Could you not lose it? Like
the parts I really liked, and again, we should probably do this at the start. Like, if you haven't watched this film, don't listen to this podcast because we're talking about the film that we've just watched in detail. We're not reviewing it like a reviewer reviews it, where they don't give anything away and just give high level things. We'd be talking about plot points.
Yes.
But I found it quite powerful where she's utterly sort of committed to him and putting on the suits and stuff and going into the chamber with him and really supporting him and adding that real human element to it.
Maybe
That
leads into the cloning side of it. That's fair enough. I mean, I do think I'm just gonna. How do you want to do this? I've got a list of
just go for it. There's no planning to this.
2, 3, 4, 5 plot points that I'm like, what the fuck are these all about?
Cool. Well, let's go for number 4. Because I know you like to work in order.
Yeah, I'm okay. Here's number 4, right? Which happens to be at the top of my list. That's just how I write stuff down. Yeah. Could they not have come up with a better reason for him to sign up? And what I mean is,
because he's basically just running away from danger, right?
Yeah. So him and his mate have
the macaron business.
Yeah, I mean that in itself was like, why macarons? Like, him and
They're
his
meant to
mate,
be huge. They're going to be huge, bigger than burgers. It's very funny.
Yeah, okay, it's very funny. Him and his mate done some bad shit on Earth. Need to get away from a gangster, otherwise they're going to get killed. Why that? Oh, because don't forget the callback later when the gangster comes back around. And that whole bit, I'm like, why did we need to do this?
There's a few bits like that.
So I would have, not trying to show my hand for changes, I don't think I've even listed this one. Get rid of that, right? He has actually got a backstory in that he killed his mum. Or he thinks he killed his mum.
Yeah, he kind of remembers that.
So there's a reason for him to be fucked up. And I'm sure they could have taken that on to somewhere to make a more sort of easy case as to why he would sign up to this sort of scheme.
Self-destructive kind of.
Exactly, right. Because, I would have got rid of that backstory, got rid of that character, got rid of that callback, because it was all just a bit of a mess, really, I thought. It doesn't add anything to the main story.
No, and the whole sort of gangster loan shark angle thing where he's a bit of a maniac and they escape him. Again, it's kind of it's called back later in the film with the chainsaw and he wants to watch him be killed.
Yeah,
and that there's an insider on the ship who's doing it. Did they even reveal who that is?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Do we care?
No, we don't care. He's a no mark.
Just a no one. Yeah. So it'd be like, if you're going to do that, it would be someone that would be like, someone who's actually close to him.
Which is what I was
has an emotional
expecting,
impact. Yeah. But it's just a guy.
I mean, I think that whole bit, did it exist to serve this? I'm not sure. But the gangster is shown like being like a glutton, right? As if to say he's got an excess of riches. Like with the food thing, he doesn't move. And he was, what was he, just eating a plate of butter or something like that?
Oh, I have to know.
Yeah, so there's like some really obvious sort of tropes like that they're putting in, which I suppose feeds into the overall commentary. But it's like, come on, we didn't need to do that whole bit to just do that. And then I come on to, well, what else is it doing? I'm not sure. I'd have got rid of that one. What's with the smell thing?
Yeah, the smell thing's odd. Yeah, you feel like that's building up to something to do with the mum and stuff, and it's going to come back and be a thing, or there's going to be a link to his mum somehow that comes.
Well, don't we get hit that first? Him liking the smell of his hair, her hair, it reminds him of his mum.
Yep.
And then we get a segment on the inventor of the cloning technology,
the weird
dead in
psycho
the smell.
who does all the sniffing part as well.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of sniffing with the Ruffalo character as
Ruffalo
well.
leans into Ilfa and sniffs her shoulder, and I was like, oh, there's something with the smell. No, there's nothing with the smell. Again, unless we're the idiots and someone goes, oh, you missed the smell. Listen to this podcast, love. They don't even know what the smell thing's about. They're fucking idiots.
Which, if so, please do tell us.
Yeah, I mean, I genuinely would
I'm
like
happy to
to know.
admit I'm an idiot, but
yeah,
didn't get it.
yeah. What's with that? What about this? In the case of multiples, we exterminate every individual. Why?
Yeah.
Because that seems to me
not just one?
to be one of the more useful use cases of this cloning, is to be able to create yourself a little army or workforce or something like that. Don't get me wrong, completely unethical, but I think that ship sailed.
Yeah.
It's just like a thing. It's just.
I think
it's
it was
like a further thing to introduce threat.
It's solely for the plot for plot purposes, right? So that it's like, well, they can't be two.
Yeah,
that has to be forbidden, right?
Yeah.
So I think
multiples. Is that actually bad? Not sure.
Why is it? Yeah, I mean, they tried to explain it, I think, didn't they? Because with the creator, and how
Nasha bloody loves it. Don't you worry about it. She's there for it.
It got a bit challenges there. Second time in two date night movies that I've referenced challenges here, where she's kind of going like, "Oh, yes, now you two, go on."
Takes me back.
Stuff. But yeah, there was a bit of a challenges vibe there, and she does get a bit horny. She's quite high at that time on whatever that.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're into the drug use as well.
There's probably commentary there as well,
which felt a bit cack-handed as well, because it's like, oh, they've been on the they're going to turn to drugs, aren't they?
Introduced
the oppressed.
Right,
it's like, well, yes, but
right in the middle for seemingly just the purpose of that.
I don't know. It
doesn't really go anywhere.
It felt like more towards the end to me, that, but yeah,
where he's just like, yes, he's dealing this stuff. People are using it, and that's it.
Well, it was partly to set your boy up as a bad man again.
The Stephen Yeun character.
Yeah. And then, like you say, get her high to get in trouble, I guess. Very, very sort of felt like a bit of an afterthought to me. That, and then, of course, why the fuck was Tim Key dressed as a pigeon?
Well, I think
which I know we've already
answered. Yeah, I think you've answered that by it's probably him just going like, "Can I dress a pigeon?"
But it's very strange, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, it's very, very strange.
Yeah, that is odd. Is that number 5? No, sorry, number 2. On your list of 5.
That's the list, mate. Have you got any others?
No, I don't think there's any questions that I have. I mean, I think I quite enjoy the bits I enjoyed. So we've kind of gone through some of the sort of the problems. There's a scene where Mickey's invited to dinner and he's being fed this.
Oh yeah,
trial fed
the artificial
meat thing. That whole scene, it's one of the better scenes in the film, I think, as well. That it gets increasingly ridiculous as it goes on.
Yeah.
There's some funny moments in that. On the humour, there were a few chuckles in the cinema, but I like a few people laughing out loud with the ridiculousn's of it.
There's a couple of jump scares as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you not remember buying one and we both turned to each other and laughed?
Oh yeah. Yes, with the baby thing jumping out of the block of whatever the hell that was, stone of some description. Yeah. There's obviously satire. Satire? Do we call it satire?
Yeah, satire. Yeah.
And which obviously I've previously demonstrated that I struggle with.
Surely not here though.
I didn't struggle seeing that it was satire. I struggle appreciating it as something.
Because I wondered if this
was
his English language thing, right? Is he better and more subtle at doing satire?
Surely, undoubtedly. I mean, you would imagine.
But then I go back to Snowpiercer. Now that's not subtle, but it's not silly. So it makes for a sort of better.
I mean, has he been given $150 million? He's gone like, awesome, let's have some fun.
Maybe.
And he's just gone like, yeah, I'm going to make this. They don't care. I'm going to turn up my usual style to 11.
Yeah.
Let's go. Cast who I want. Let's do it.
Maybe.
The final third, a little bit messy.
Yeah.
Mickey 18 was a little bit inconsistent as well. I'm not sure if that was meant to be development of a character, but it's almost like he kind of moved from I don't know, it didn't really track with his the personality that he kind of said in his ultimate where he ends up as well.
I didn't mind that because I thought he initially was too far the other way. Because it's like these are supposed to be the same person.
The most different, yeah, it was the most different.
They've had ever so slightly different learnings as they go through these iterations, but they still share the same core. So I thought he was a bit too far the other way, so I sort of didn't mind them when he did come back in a bit, and you're like, oh no, it's fine, they're all in the same ballpark, that's okay. I mean, I've got to say the last third, I might even go as far as to say half, is where I didn't enjoy the film as much. I enjoyed the sort of the setup and
which is different to me, where I kind of like I settled into it, or maybe did I settle it, or did it actually become a bit more standard towards the end?
It changed, right? Yeah, because you have the overblown thing in the first half as a setup, and I sort of go, oh, okay, that'll be interesting to see what it does with this. And I thought it was reasonably consistent. In the second half, maybe it's the last act, they tell us a bit more about the characters, and they go like, oh, they're actually really bad. And in that sense, it then becomes a much more traditional story.
Yeah,
it's
well,
like
maybe I didn't settle into it. Maybe I just
rooting for the good guys against the bad guys, regardless of what the actual tone is. And actually, the final set piece is a fairly straight down the line out of any action film, sort of the way they set that up, the tension, and we got to get to this just in case,
Then bad guy go boom.
So it got, to me, it got more sort of boring, less interesting as that went on, and it really brought home how a lot of the stuff and interesting approach that they had set up sort of didn't go anywhere, other than to devolve into this very, very straight down the line, let's stop the bad guys story.
Yeah, I mean, they do try and delve a little bit into what it is to be human and things like that. They don't commit to that 100%, I don't think.
No.
Either, which you definitely could have gone down that angle. Like, they essentially go down the, well, if you fear dying, that's kind of what it is to be human. So even this guy who knows that he's going to keep on coming back, he still has the fear of death, and that they call that back a couple of times with it, and then obviously the constant reference to what's it like to die? What's it like to die? As well. But yeah, there's a lot that satire angle that I started talking about and I forgot that's what I was talking about.
As did the film, but never mind.
Yes. Was it saying anything particularly interesting or deep? Was it quite surface level, quite, obvious stuff, wasn't it? It wasn't like...
It's obvious stuff. It's very, very on the nose. And I come back to the Starship Troopers example. You can look at Starship Troopers and go, it's silly, it's overblown, it's not for me. Right? And that's absolutely fine. But what you can't argue with about Starship Troopers is it is a novel approach to examining fascism. It does subvert the tropes, right? And because he commits to it, Paul Verhoeven, all the way through, and the fascists win, that is an interesting way to look at it, because then afterwards, once you realise that's what it's done, you go, would that happen? It
Probably.
might. It might. And how does that happen? Oh, because we're sold ideas like this master race, and we dress it up with this, shiny bow and all the rest of it, this, that, and the other. And it's like he's tried to do the two things in the same film here. He's tried to do that and then take you on the journey to go, by the way, that's what fascism looks like in the real world. They dress it up, and now we're going to rally against it and defeat it. And the heroes win. And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, and then when you have all those other little muddle bits as well and those loose threads, it's I got to say that it really it devolves. I mean, it still doesn't devolve into a terrible film. Like I say, that the set piece at the end is straight down the line, but it's fairly decent. There's still a couple of funny moments and all the rest of it.
And I think it's worth reiterating that. I think both of us would recommend
to go see it.
Film to go see. For sure, it's interesting enough. There's enough going on with it. It's original enough, different enough to warrant going to see it.
Yeah, some people aren't going to think about it at all, and they're just going to have a good time.
Yeah.
Some people are going to think about it loads, and it might resonate more with them, and they might have a great time with it that way.
Yeah, I just think I was expecting something pretty very good. Like I was expecting to come out. Yeah, I was expecting to come out and go like, oh, so good. This is like favourite movie of the year kind of thing. But and it probably is at the moment, but it's March.
Yeah.
Don't see that many things too.
Yeah.
There you go. You got anything else on plot?
No.
All right. Any changes? So each of us up to 3 changes here. Carl, how many have you got?
3.
I've only got the 2. So you go with your number 3.
All right. Most basic. Drop some of those story threads and subplots.
Yeah, that's one of mine as well. Fewer loose strands there. It's unnecessary. You don't need it.
And maybe, as you've pointed out, with the examination of what it is to be human, maybe you definitely keep the loved one fleshed out a bit more. Yeah. And it's I'd get rid of the backstory with the gangster and
even the origin of the clones and the guy.
Just doesn't add much, does it? Yeah.
Okay, my second one was just take Ruffalo down a notch.
Mm-hmm.
Just for me, just a little bit. It becomes a little bit too huge, a bit too ridiculous.
Yeah.
What else you got?
This I've got 2, but they're just 2 sides of the same thing. Commit to the bit and let the fascists win, as they do in Starship Troopers, which would be pretty bleak.
It would be bleak, but fun.
But that's where your satire is going to hit then. Or maybe we shine the light on the people on board, or even the people back on Earth that sanction this sort of thing or whatever, to examine. Well, we know it's wrong. It's definitely fascism. We'll call that out in the film, but let's actually explore those people and their part in facilitating its rise or being swept up in it or whatever.
Okay.
And I guess that way you would still be able to have your triumphant ending, and we end up being able to root for the good guys. But you've still got that interesting commentary on the way. I kind of feel like it's doing one or the other at the moment.
Cool. Well, there you go, Oscar winner, writer and director. That's how you should improve your film.
Look, we do this on every film.
You're listening, Bong.
Yeah, I think if we look back across these episodes, more often than not, it's you that goes, directors, they talk shit, don't they?
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah, so, sorry, Bong.
Let's finish things off with the data section. So some early-ish sort of ratings here. So IMDb, it's 7.1. Letterboxd, 3.7. So there or thereabouts, the same there.
That's higher than I expected, to be honest.
It is actually. I mean, anything approaching the 4 mark on Letterboxd is generally very well.
Yeah, that's what I say. I don't put any stock in the 7.1. Where have you got that from? No stock in that. But yeah, the 3.7 on Letterboxd, that's higher than I would have thought. Fair play.
Metacritic 72. So again, it's there or thereabouts. What have you rated it, Carl?
I haven't rated it yet. It'll be how much I end up rewarding it for how it looks and sounds and all the rest of it, because it is a really well put together film. I'm going to be 3.5, something like that. Cool.
I went 3, but I said in my review on Letterboxd that this could be one which does reward a rewatching, because I struggled with the original tone, with it actually going into it knowing what to expect a little bit. It could mean you settle into that quicker and you can actually enjoy and appreciate some of the stuff that's going on a bit better.
Yeah.
Potentially. Or you realise it's a complete empty vessel, and even though you get into it, you lose it. So it could go either way. But
it's even less fun this time than the first time.
Yeah, but I'll be able to catch it soon, because it'll be I'll be able to watch it at home.
God, yeah.
Hybrid, Carl.
Oh yeah, I mean, the easy one. This.
Yeah, we're both happy with this one. I think it's right there.
Moon.
Yep.
Human cloning.
Yep.
Starship Troopers, the overblown examination of fascism.
Yep.
That's your Mickey 17.
Yeah, I think it's solid. Add it to the pyramid.
Yeah, and we must be able to feed some of those films into something.
Yeah, Moon.
Yeah,
especially.
I'm going to have to get my arse in gear and put these together so we can.
Started.
I did start, not finished, so we can look at these and start to try build some layers and figure out which bits we're missing to connect them and stuff like that. So,
what about rewatchability, Carl?
Yeah, I've gone with meh.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and it's more a reflection of I just don't know when I would ever think, oh yeah, I'll put that on again. So you're probably quite right in that you could watch it again and you probably will get more out of it. You'll be less bothered by certain things. You'll understand other bits a bit better. That's probably correct. But do I actually want to do that anytime soon? I'm not sure. I think it's a meh.
So I've gone very yes for the rewatchability. I think there's enough to get your teeth into it, which warrants a rewatch. I mean, as default, Emma hasn't seen it. I probably wanted to
Yeah,
watch
you'll
it,
get-
so I
you'll get
probably
one,
will
yeah.
definitely rewatch it once it comes out at home.
You can report back then, can't you?
Yeah, I can. So quite looking forward to rewatching it. It won't be an instant one, but a few months down the line, it'll be good to revisit.
Fair enough.
Best scene, Carl.
The best scene I've gone with, I can't remember exactly what the lines were leading up to it, but it was in the jail bit when they were all in jail towards the end.
Oh, yeah.
And
In cages.
Yeah, in the cages. You had Mickey 17 on one shoulder, Mickey 18 on the other shoulder. The way it was framed was beautiful. Literally playing angel and devil on the shoulder. Was it she was going to stab someone or something like that? And he was like, no, don't do it. And the other one's like, yeah, do it. It was just a really well put together scene. Very funny.
Yeah.
And highlighting the fun that Arpats was having on this film.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they filmed it, as in, was there someone always there that he was acting against?
You'd
kind
think
of thing?
there's a stand-in, wouldn't you?
Be good to see it behind the scenes.
Yeah, you
for
want
that.
something, because it was so well framed. You would think that it'd be difficult to achieve that without some sort of stand-in. Yeah. Really
So
good.
I'm between two scenes. So the dinner
slick.
scene, which I already kind of mentioned,
Yes.
is quite a long one, but it gets pretty wild and funny. But like the virus vaccine testing one, where it's just like
Yeah, breathe it
breathe.
in.
Breathe it.
Yes.
Imagine there's a hidden virus, so just breathe it all in.
All those lovely parasites, or whatever it was. Yeah.
But they reprint him once, and they're just like, "No, don't worry about it. He'll be dead in 10 minutes. He'll be like spewing blood out of every orifice, kind of thing." Just like 10 minutes. It's like it'll be more like 15.
Yeah,
It's just
so that's good, isn't it?
the whole bit of that was good. Did enjoy it. Quote. You got a quote?
Now, I could have gone with Tim Key's, I couldn't give a fuck, mate. When it's like,
Yeah, quite. That's right at the end, isn't it?
yeah, because that was very Tim Key. But no, my best quote is, the ship was filled with mostly dickheads.
Oh, there you go. I went for, I'm still good meat,
Yeah.
which was funny.
was
So
a-
offended that it wasn't being eaten.
That was a theme that kept coming up, that I did
made
not
of?
pick up on, was his lack of self-worth. And that he was so offended by the fact that they wouldn't eat him, he thought he should be at least good to eat, because that's sort of the functional level that he sees himself at. I didn't.
He settled into the whole expendable.
Yeah, I didn't
He
quite
is expendable.
get that. I have to say, I always thought he was somewhat struggling with being expendable.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't really get that until you just mentioned it.
Yeah, it kept coming up in reviews. Anyway, sorry. digress.
Favorite character?
Look, not for this film, perhaps, but it's Pigeon Man. I just like Tim Key. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, okay, fine. I'll probably go. I've written Nasher. Only through. I can't go for any of the Mickeys. I didn't really settle in with.
You could go for
the
Mickey
Ruffalo
18. He's
character.
not a main character,
Yeah,
is he?
that's true. Actually,
Yeah.
you could go for Mickey 18. Yeah, he was quite fun. No, I'll stick with Nasher. I commit. I think she was. She was alright, if a little bit inconsistent.
Yeah,
but
fair enough. Fair enough.
Brought a little bit to it. Okay, Carl, you got anything else for us?
Nope.
All right, well then that is all we've got. So remember that our Bluesky, Instagram and Twitter is MTN Movie Pod. Our YouTube channel is at Movie the Needle. Please do follow, subscribe and all that good stuff. And wherever you are listening, please do subscribe and give us a rating on that platform. Remember to check out our latest regular episode, Chinatown, and our next episode coming, Escape Plan, plus previous date night episodes on Baby Girl and A Complete Unknown. So for me and Carl, it's goodbye.
Don't forget Jaws, The Revenge.
Yeah, that's coming. That's a few weeks away.
No, it comes before.
It comes after Escape Plan.
Does it?
Yes. I mean, yes, it does. I mean,
I'm glad we had this discussion
this
on
is
there.
well worth.
Yeah.
So for me and Carl, it's goodbye.
Or is it? Is there any other detail I'd like to call out unnecessarily? Goodbye.
Oh, we'll be back with another date night next time the sexual tension in the pod shed needs an outlet. Goodbye.